Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the Bird's Nest Podcast. I'm Joe Donahue. Thank you so much for joining us. A very happy Memorial Day weekend to each of you who are watching. We spend Bird's Nest Media's Memorial Day weekend, at least the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend, covering the Big 33 Football Classic. We've been doing it for the last 3 years here at Cumberland Valley High School. This is its third year at Cumberland Valley High School, a game that historically used to be played at the Hershey Park Arena in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And this game has historically earned the title of being the Super Bowl of high school football. And that is due in no small part to some of the legends that have passed through this game. Talking guys like Joe Namath, Joe Montana, Dan Marino. These are household names when it comes to people who are in the conversation for the greatest of all time when it comes to football. And that extends even to some Eagles players that have participated in this game. Now, I'm not saying that any of these guys are the greatest of all time, but they do have the Big 33 as part of their heritage. Former Eagle Ricky Waters, Jahan Dotson, Miles Sanders, former offensive coordinator Frank Reich. There have been a number of Eagles players that have come through this game, a number of folks from the Philadelphia area. There has never been a Super Bowl that has been contested without at least one player from this game on the roster. So one alumnus of this game has been on the roster for every Super Bowl that has been played. And that in and of itself is an accomplishment. So that speaks to the kind of football players that this game strives to prepare. A couple of years ago, the Big 33 Classic debuted as part of the festivities surrounding this game, a girls flag football tournament. And that occupied several days. It was a round-robin style tournament, culminating in the championship game that was played this afternoon. Now, the teams were sponsored by 4 NFL teams: the Philadelphia Eagles, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Washington Commanders, the 2 teams representing Pennsylvania and the 2 teams representing the Maryland area. And Kira Quinn, who is in her 3rd year playing in this game, spoke about the chance to connect with teammates and the importance of this game.
You know, really just getting to meet a ton of different girls is the biggest thing. It creates connections, it creates friendships. You'll see them, you'll say hi, you know, it's just amazing.
Now, that championship game did feature the Philadelphia Eagles, who are back-to-back champions in this competition, playing the Washington Commanders. Both of them had to play games earlier in the day on Sunday. The Commanders had to actually eke out a win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was a really close game, very back and forth between those 2 teams. But ultimately, the Commanders were able to prevail in the end. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Eagles team, under the leadership of quarterback Kira Quinn, shut out the Baltimore Ravens. So the Philadelphia Eagles were well poised to defend their back-to-back title. And this drew an audience. There were definitely plenty of people. You could tell that the energy was there. Certainly it's not going to be as many people as the Big 33 Classic later in the day, which did in fact have a lot of folks participating. But the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders being in that final game, there were definitely a lot of high-energy fans cheering on both teams. And that speaks to, in addition to flag football being repeatedly in the Big 33 competition, just another stage of flag football's growth. We've talked about it before. Flag football is going to be in the Olympics in LA 28. But flag football is being increasingly recognized as a high school sport, and even in some colleges. And I had the chance to catch up with Jesse Schulman, who is the manager of flag football operations for the National Football League. He was present at this game, and he spoke about that growth.
It's really great to see. You know, right now flag football in high school is offered in 40 states, and 23 are now sanctioned, including 6 in the last month. So the growth is real, and it really just proves the whole pathway, right? Youth, now you can play, you know, in your youth all the way to high school through college. We're launching a professional league at the NFL, and obviously it's going to be in the Olympics in LA 28. So if you want to, you know, when you're a young girl and you choosing your sport that you want to sort of stick with, flag is now a great option, and you have the pathway all the way up, which is incredible.
Now, former Eagle Ron Johnson runs a foundation that supports flag football, among other things, and he also spoke about the impact that flag football has on the lives of the girls that participate in the program.
It's been awesome to have the support of the NFL teams, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Washington Commanders, Pittsburgh Steelers, and Baltimore Ravens. To have them back this and support it and to help it grow with all the events that they do throughout the year, but especially with the Big 33 girls flag football team, for them to be on board and help support with this game and just make it happen. It's awesome to see their support, but also the growth. And we want to try to continue this as much as we can.
Now, for the game itself, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders were tightly matched throughout the first half. The reigning champs were challenged, and they entered halftime actually down 1 in the game. It was a little bit concerning because the Eagles got out to an early start, and then the Commanders were able to answer back. The Eagles would have to lock in if they wanted to make the three-peat happen, and they did. Early in the second half, Beatrix Cayley delivered the Eagles' first interception of the game, and the Philadelphia Eagles capitalized. They scored 8 on the ensuing drive, and they never looked back. They knocked off the Commanders thanks to a second pick six by Kira Quinn and secured the three-peat with a final score of 21-13, allowing just 1 Commanders touchdown in effectively garbage time. Now, head coach Tim Quinn, who has coached this team for each of the last 3 years, spoke about the importance of this win.
Oh, this one means a lot. My daughter finished her senior year. She's my youngest daughter of my 4 girls that started our program, which led to a lot of the movement in Pennsylvania. So to get to coach her one more game in a high school game was really special. I had another player that I've been coaching since she was 10 years old. So it really was special. This group of girls, they came in, despite that we've won the last 2 years, they came in with more energy than any other team we've had, extremely talented. And all weekend, we keep asking them, like, did you guys meet before this? And they didn't. There's 2 girls that are walking around. Everyone keeps confusing them for twins. And they just met through the Big 33 process. And I spoke to the girls and I said, look, please understand how important this game is and that you're the future of this game. And it doesn't end here with winning a championship. So.
And his daughter Kira, who was presented with the Maxwell Football Club's Girls Flag Football National Player of the Year Award at the Big 33 Classic game itself, spoke about how this game sets her up for college.
Through flag, it's really helped me learn how to create connections and really speak outwardly to people. So I think that would help in a real life situation.
Now, anytime that you watch football, you have a general understanding of how the sport works. And there's definitely similarities between the NFL, between high school and college, but there are certainly differences in how those folks operate. And it's very true with flag football, but flag football is sometimes considered to be a different sport by the people who play it than NFL football. There's definitely similarities that transfer over, but sometimes a fan who's tuning in to flag football for the first time may be a little bit confused or may be a little bit taken off guard with some of the flag football rules, especially if you watch the Fanatics flag competition that occurred back in March. You may have found yourself in that boat. Now, Schulman actually spoke about the things that NFL fans should take away from flag when they watch those competitions.
I just hope that they see that, football is the greatest sport around, obviously. We own a day of the week. We own Sundays. So I think people are going to love this form of football as well. Tackle is incredible, but so is flag. And so it's exciting, it's quick, it's nuanced. And so you're going to see some really high quality players. And you're going to realize that girls can play a sport at an extremely elite level. And obviously the guys are going to be there too for the Olympics. And so you're going to see just some amazing talent throughout, and hopefully from here on out we see flag football in the Olympics every single year, or every 4 years, sorry. Every single iteration.
So again, the Eagles secured the three-peat. They are the first team in Big 33 history to go back to back in the girls flag football tournament. It is only 3 years old, but it is another win for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now again, this competition comes in the context of the Big 33 Football Classic, which is the final opportunity for high school seniors, the best of the high school seniors, to play football in an organized way before they head off to college. And this is a game that has long been played at the Hershey Park Arena. It has long been played between Pennsylvania and Maryland. So high school players from all across the state of Pennsylvania and all across the state of Maryland came together here for one more opportunity to play the game and compete for a trophy and compete for bragging rights for their state. As players came in, they were recognized, and Philly was well represented. There were more than 15 players on the Pennsylvania roster that came from the Philadelphia area. So that is saying something. The cheerleaders put on a show, and each cheerleader and each player had a buddy that they spent a good chunk of time with while they were here. This is always impactful for the players. In fact, every single player that I spoke to after the game loved the buddy aspect. What part of this experience really stands out for you?
I think the buddy program. Like after the game, I was literally just looking for my buddy. So I think the buddy program really stands out for me.
I say competing with the best and with the buddies for sure.
I really like the whole buddies thing with the like being a part of that program and all of that. That stood to me the most. I don't know, just like wholesome. It made me feel good about myself.
I think just how, I wouldn't say like close we got. You know, like we were talking for a while. We had a great meal together. Like we learned a lot about each other. I just had a great time. I mean, Andrew's a great guy. We talked a lot about college football, but yeah, I had a great experience with it.
The game had as its honorary chairman ESPN analyst and former Eagles front office personnel, Louis Riddick, who is from Quakertown and who participated in the Big 33 himself before going off to college and before his NFL career. Now, the game itself was a defensive slogfest. It was very low scoring. There was one touchdown by Pennsylvania that came in the first quarter, and it was a really important touchdown because Pennsylvania kind of got spanked last year, so they were hoping to not repeat that. Pennsylvania was also able to pull off the first interception of the game, and they were able to hold Maryland scoreless throughout most of the game. However, Maryland was able to finally take advantage of a beleaguered Neshaminy quarterback, Michael Eckert. He was pummeled all night by the Maryland defense, and finally Maryland was able to capitalize on offense and able to march down the field and score. And they were able to tie it at 7. This forced overtime after the Maryland defense was able to pick Eckert off late in the game on that final meaningful drive. So this led to a shootout-style sudden death overtime, and Pennsylvania went first, and Pennsylvania had to wind up settling for a field goal. But Pennsylvania was able to hold Maryland to a field goal as well, so the game was still tied after that first round. In the second round, teams that scored touchdowns had to go for 2 points, kind of like how college operates. So Maryland was able to go down, get the touchdown, and then get that 2-point conversion, mandatory in that double overtime. Team PA did have its shot, but when Michael Eckert came out, the team was unable to progress forward and actually wound up losing yards, getting themselves into a third and really long situation, 3rd down and 2 sticks situation. And that ultimately led to Team PA not being able to close out the drive, going 4 and out on their overtime drive in second overtime. And that gave Maryland its second year in a row victory here in the Big 33 Classic. Now, both teams did have MVPs recognized, and both teams were able to participate in the closing ceremonies. Both teams obviously shook hands. It was definitely a little bit chippy late in the game and definitely chippy in the post-game ceremonies, but both teams were able, once all of that was calmed down, were able to kind of put aside their differences and be able to share their final camaraderie night here before they go off to their collegiate endeavors. Now, each player is going to play in college, and each of them that I spoke to spoke about the importance of how this game really helped them.
The coverage, this whole game is man-to-man, so I'll just say coverage, that's all.
Yeah, I say just staying sticky and man-to-man.
And playing against the best of the best.
I feel like playing against these guys, these high-level athletes, I feel like that tells me how ready I am for college. I feel like I play like a great game, so I feel like I'll be ready for the next step. And I got a couple things I can work on when get back home and get to training before I hit campus. But yeah.
And not to be understated, they're all leaving with a few new friends too, whether it's guys that they've played against and are now playing on the same team with, or guys that they've spent over the course of this week, or guys that they are now going off to college with.
Getting to meet new teammates. I met a couple of the guys I'm going to Monmouth with, Tyler Reinhart for one on Team PA and Mason Triplin on Team Maryland. Just got to know those guys and, really experiencing what it is to be a Big 33 football player. It was a really nice experience.
So overall, it was just a great day of football, a great way to recognize these high school seniors as they make this next step in their football journey. And as a bonus, the Philadelphia Eagles were able to secure the three-peat. So congratulations to Team Philadelphia Eagles in that girls flag football championship. Now, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge that this is Memorial Day weekend, and this weekend does not happen. This event does not happen without the sacrifices of so many people in our armed forces, including those who paid the ultimate price for our freedom here in the United States. We cannot have a country without the sacrifice of people who are willing to keep it a free nation. But let me know what you think in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning into the Bird's Nest Podcast. You can support the Bird's Nest Podcast by liking and subscribing to Bird's Nest Media right here on YouTube, as well as by sharing to your social media pages. You can also find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, the Odyssey app, and iHeartRadio, pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts. Please visit birdsnestmedia.com for additional Eagles and NFL coverage. And if you feel so inclined to support us in a different way, you can find the link to our Patreon in the description below or at birdsnestmedia.com, or you can join the Bird's Nest Media YouTube page. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's go Eagles.